everybody. Welcome to episode 16 of the BrownieKnits podcast. I'm your host, Gina, also known as BrownieKnits on Instagram and Ravelry. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. I hope you'll go on to Ravelry and join our BrownieKnits group and chat along with us as we do some knit alongs and crochet alongs and just, enjoy knitting and crocheting and all the other crafts. So, all right, let's get started. I don't have a lot to show you in terms of works in progress and finished items because I've been doing a lot of design and editing work and I'm not allowed to show that. And I've also been doing some gift knitting for some people who watch the podcast, so I don't want to show those items. So let's look at the first finished item that I have that I recently made. And this is for my cousin's daughter, so my first cousin's daughter, so she'd be my second cousin. She was in our wedding when we got married. She was one of our flower girls, and she is graduating in about a week and a half from high school. So I decided that I was going to make her a cowl, hat, and mitten set, and the hat and mittens are actually a couple new designs that I'm working on, but the cowl is a favorite cowl of mine to knit. I've made lots of these over the years, and it is the pattern name is Thermis, and it's by Kris Knits, and I used Briar Rose Abundance to knit this one. Now the pattern calls for a worsted weight yarn, and on the label Abundance says it's a worsted, but it's really more of an Aran. And she doesn't give names to her colors, so this is just all purple tones, and I just thought it was really cute. And it has this little button band area, so you can wear it completely closed. You can wear it unbuttoned one or unbuttoned twice. And pretty much the entire thing, all of the stitch patterns that you use in the design are reversible, so it doesn't really matter if it folds down. You're still seeing a really pretty side because they're both the same. And so I'm making her some mittens and a hat to go with them, and I thought those could keep her warm next winter when she's walking around campus. She's going to be a nurse, which I think is a great choice for her. She's a very kind and caring young lady. So when she was in our wedding, she was the older of the two flower girls, and my friend's little girl, who's also in high school already, was a little bit younger. And when we got the pictures back, they asked my little cousin who she was walking down the aisle with, or who that was, and she said, "That's the girl I pulled down the aisle." So she had a job to do that day. She was going to ring her little bell, and she was going to make sure that the other flower girl made it down the aisle, and she did. It was really cute. She also told me at that time, and I'm sure she has long forgotten this, but she told me that day that I could have Patrick as my broom for now, but that when she got older, she wanted him to be her broom. So she didn't quite get all of it, but I thought that was a really cute thing. So I always remember that. All right, so my work in progress, I do have a catkin that I casted on as a work in progress, but so far it's just stockinette, so I didn't think you guys would really want to see that just yet. So I'll show that next time. But I got a little bit of a late start on my May socks because I was behind on my April, so I finished up my April. But for my May socks, I decided in May of 2014 for my birthday, I had a couple of friends over and I bought all of us a skein of Knit Picks Bear fingering yarn. So I bought each of us a skein of that, and then I got a lot of packets of Kool-Aid, and we did some Kool-Aid dyeing that day. And it was really interesting to see how much each individual's personality really came out in the result of their yarn that day. And then I was going to make mine into like a little shrug, and I cast it on and I started doing that, and I just wasn't loving it, and I stuck it in the closet for a while, and then I pulled it out the other day and thought, I'm going to unravel the shrug and wash the yarn. So I put it back into a hank and washed it to get all the crinkles out from where it had been, you know, stitches for a long time. And then I'm going to use that for my May 2015 socks. And that's what we have here. So I just love how it's working up now. I just really like, I mean, there's no pulling at all, even in the heel area. The dyeing that I did really just kind of works. I know that I used cherry Kool-Aid for the overall color, and I intentionally left certain sections completely blank, so you see like the white or it's, you know, I felt like it was more cream before I dyed it, but it really looks more white when it's against the dyed areas. I left sections of that white, and then I went in with, I think, some orange, yeah, Kool-Aid, and did little bitty sections of the orange, and that's how you have just those pops here every now and then. So they are turning out very cute. I'm very happy with those. So those are going to be my May socks for this year. So, and I tried, usually I knit in the when we go to a movie. And we hadn't been to a movie in a really long time, and my husband wanted to see the Avengers. So I made sure I was through the rib of my sock, and I was down here in the stockinette, so I just had to knit. And I don't know what I did. I've never done this before, but it just really became a mess, and I couldn't knit through the movie. And so I had to start them over, but that's okay. You get more use out of the yarn, right? So that is my work in progress that I wanted to show, and my finished item. And then I have, I got in the mail last week a catalog from Knit Picks, and I don't normally do this, but I wanted to show you guys. Last winter I had a bunch of projects that I was working on in my project bags that I couldn't pull out and show on the podcast, and a lot of them were crocheted projects, and I was doing a lot of test crochet for Knit Picks at the time. And I didn't do all of these, please don't think that. But they just released a couple of their crochet collections. They had this animal crochet collection, and this is just one page of some of the patterns. But I made these little cats. I did a test crochet of these little cats for the designer in Knit Picks, and they were so fun and cute. They really turned out cute. The way they did this collection, in the pattern, it gives you 3 size options. I think, let's see, it looks like some of them are fingering sport and worsted, some are sport, worsted, and bulky. So it's just 3 different weights of yarn that you can use to get the different pattern or the different sizes. And then they also have a home collection. And so I did a couple, did the little table runner in the lamp shade. I tested for them, and they have some really cute things. I loved, I didn't crochet it. I might have tech edited it, but I didn't crochet it. The poof that they did. Isn't that cute? And, you know, if you go to Target or Pottery Barn or whatever, those are everywhere. They're very stylish right now. So I just thought I'd mention that for the crocheters out there. If you are looking for some cute and fun patterns, they did a really good job with that. So, hi Kiki, you want to come up? Come here. Kennedy decided that she was going to hang out with me today while I recorded instead of hanging out with Patrick, who is in his office on a conference call. So, all right. And then this past weekend, I had my birthday on Sunday, and I was really, really blessed with a lot of knittery gifts. And it just so happened at the same time that I received in the mail a bunch of yarn support for some upcoming designs. So keep that in mind while I show this, that I haven't lost my ever-loving mind here. I didn't like go and buy everything. So I was just very lucky to have some friends and family who gifted me a lot of stuff at once. So I'm set for a really long time on yarn needs. So I'm going to show those because there might be some yarn in there that, well, there's definitely yarn in there that I haven't used before that you guys might be able to tell me a little bit more about or recommend patterns, or I don't know, it's just fun to see yarn, isn't it? So anyway, I thought I'd do that. Let her run around. She makes, I don't know other Yorkie owners, my boy Yorkie that we used to have, he was pretty quiet. She talks all the time. My friend Carol calls her a little Ewok because she sounds like an Ewok. And for some reason, in my opinion, she talks to Carol a lot when Carol's here and just kind of answers her back. And she doesn't bark at her. She's just like, you know, kind of talking. And we took Kennedy, we've started taking her to the farmer's market on Saturday morning. There's a farmer's market in the town over that allows you to bring your pets. And there are a lot of dogs at the farmer's market and a lot of big dogs. And Kennedy just will not even look at them. It's like she doesn't even notice them. She won't give them the time of day. And they all notice her and are like pulling on their leashes trying to get to her. And she acts like a little diva walking through the farmer's market. Okay, so this first thing is something that my husband surprised me with, and I was very happy that he did. So it's Desert Vista Dyeworks, and it's on her Viso base, which is a 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon fingering weight, 462 yards, self-striping, and the colorway is Top Gun. Excited. I think this is going to be what I used to knit my June socks. So you'll get to see this cast it on and see how it stripes next month or next podcast. Great. So that was one thing. And then let's see. Oh, I didn't bring up. So Christina of A Knitter's Life gave me this cute little package, and it had some tea in it and a little tea cup that was very pretty. And then she had made a little cup cozy, and I totally forgot to grab it and bring it up, but it's adorable. If you're on my Instagram account, there's a picture of it. But she also dyed this yarn for me. And this is also using the Knit Picks bare fingering. And then she did it in reds and pinks and whites. And her gift to me was so feminine and pretty, all kitted together. Everything, even the tea box was like pink and white. So it was just like so girly and so cute. And so this skein, I think, is probably going to be July socks. So you'll get to see that in July. So those were both really fun. And then my friend Carol, who is Little Britches CP on Instagram, and I think she's Little CP in Ravelry. Sorry about the crinkling bags. She gave me a couple things here. I have stuff everywhere. All right. I'm dropping everything. Okay, first. So she gave me a couple skeins of Crazy yarn. And I'll put a link to the yarn in Ravelry so that you guys can check it out. They basically use their mill-ins and make this crazy yarn. So like no two skeins, I've been told no two skeins are really gonna totally match. A lot of people are doing a cow. There's a free cow pattern that goes with these, and that's what I'm going to do. And then she gave me 2 skeins of this Madelinetosh Tosh DK, and the color is Curiosity. And this one has, let's see, it's 225 yards, 206 meters on per skein for these. And I'm going to use this for a hat design in the ebook of hats that I'm working on that'll release this winter. So I think it'll just be perfect for what I have in mind. So it'll probably be a couple hats here. And then she also gave me these stitch markers. Let's see, do we have, they're called Needle Jewels. Damselflystudio.com. And she has an Etsy store, damselflystudio.etsy.com. And they're so pretty. Let's see if the camera focuses in on. Aren't they cute? So sparkly and cute. So she had a definite color theme working there with the purple. And it was all in this YarnPop bag. So you put your yarn in, and then you can thread it through these holes out to your project, and it keeps everything all nice and contained. So isn't that fun? Like I said, I was really spoiled. We Saturday, late afternoon, early evening, we got together and knitted and exchanged gifts, because Carol's birthday is also right before mine, and we had a cheese plate and some cake and stuff, and just had a fun little time. And right before they got here, our mail lady came, and my husband happened to be walking down to our mailbox, and she said, "Oh, I'm so glad. Good timing. You saved me a trip from having to walk up to your porch." And so she handed him a package, and he's like, "Okay, thanks." And she's like, "Oh, no." And she handed him 2 more packages, and we're talking huge packages. And he's, "Oh, okay, thanks." And she said, "No." And she handed him 2 more packages, and then I think a couple more. And so I came downstairs, and he was like, "What is all this?" And I think only one. Yeah, I think only one thing was something I actually ordered. So I was okay. He was all right with that. So anyway, it was really fun, because as we were all together, it was like we got to open, it took me back to when I was working at the shop, and we would get to open new boxes for inventory. So I held on to all of it, and then we opened all of that while we were together, so we could all touch the yarn and ooh and ah over it. And on the previous podcast, I mentioned that Christina and I are working on a design collaboration that will release this fall, where we're each designing a piece that coordinates together, and then we'll launch it on both of our podcasts, and you can get the patterns probably through Ravelry. And so we got the yarn support came from Anzula Luxury Fibers, and it's just gorgeous. So we are using, this is the Nimbus colorway, and I'm hoping it shows up more accurate on your screen than the iPad screen. It's absolutely beautiful. It's like an ice blue. So we're using that and their Au Naturel. And it's both their For Better or Worsted yarn, which is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And each skein has 200 yards, which is 182 meters. Isn't it gorgeous? It just, I don't know, it just reminds me of like winter and just beautiful snow and a blue sky. So anyway, so we were very grateful for Anzula. Charlie, thank you so much for being so supportive of independent designers. In that same box, they also sent me this yarn. So these will be for hats. for my ebook of hats design book. And they're gorgeous. Don't you just, I mean, their yarn is to die for. So if you can snag a skein of their yarn and make yourself a hat, you will love it. This is also their For Better or Worsted, and this color is Madam. It's like this lovely red. This one is Elephant, which is totally spot on. This one is Mariana, and I actually used Mariana to knit a hat for, I think, yeah, for Hannah, and it's just really this lovely bluish green. Maybe it's more green than blue. And then this one is gorgeous. This one is Prudence. So they're all just amazing, amazing colors. They just do such a great job. And it's, I wish you could feel it. It's so soft and squishy. So that was super exciting. And then for another collaboration project, I decided to try out Stylecraft. So here, so I ordered this from the Wool Warehouse. They give you these really nice bags. So the Wool Warehouse is in the UK. And for those of you stateside, the shipping was so reasonable. I thought it was an error, actually, because it was so reasonable. The price of the yarn is great. All the different colors that I ordered are the Life 4-ply. And it's so soft. For the amount of acrylic that's in it, it's just so great. It's 75% premium acrylic and 25% wool, 492 yards with 450 meters. This shade is Heather. I bet you can't guess this one, it's Cream. And then we have, let's see, this one's Rose. And I think this is Clover. And then my absolute favorite, which is Melon. So, like I said, all of that is going to become a fun couple of designs. So, I'm going to call this episode the Yarn Tsunami because I felt like just washed over with yarn on Saturday. I mean, in a good way, but now I've got a lot of work to do, right? And that's a great thing to have. So I'm just so excited. I want to cast on everything at once, and I'm trying to be good because I have to finish up some graduation gifts and some birthday gifts and some swap packages and stuff like that. So I put it in Ravelry and I've put it in the craft closet, and I'm trying not to look at all the new stuff until I get some other things done. So, all right, next up, I have some questions to take from the Ask the Podcaster thread. I'll draw for the winner of the Ask the Podcaster giveaway thread that we've had open for a couple months now. But before I do that, let's answer some questions. So the first question comes from Bradsmom, who is Kim from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. And she wanted to know, what are good borders for blankets, both in between and around the outside of blankets? So in between being like if you're going to do a block. For those of you who are doing the BK blanket along, the BrownieKnits 2015 blanket along, you know that I have each block surrounded by garter. And that is a favorite of mine because garter is just so simple and easy to knit when you're knitting flat, and it just really gives your eye a place to rest while you can focus in on the stitch patterns that are in the center of the blocks or in the center of a blanket. So I really like to use garter, and it also it has the added benefit of being really pretty stretchy. So you can kind of stretch it out if you want a little more coverage when you block it, or you can leave it kind of squished together. So for example, on the Choo Choo Train design, I used garter all the way around. And it's just, I mean, when you're doing it for a blanket too, it's nice to have it on the edge because it's so cushy and squishy. So you can just really kind of cuddle up with it. So I really like to use garter. However, I'm also a fan of the look of seed stitch, and I really enjoy knitting it too. I know some people feel like they can't get in a rhythm because you're constantly stitching between knit and purl, but I actually really enjoy seed stitch. I have the blanket upside down. This is the Petal Baby Afghan, and I used a seed stitch border on this one. And it too has more visual interest than garter, but it's also got that same squishiness and spring to it. And it's not so busy that it distracts. Like, I thought it was really, I tend to think of it as very feminine, so I really liked it against the contrast of the flowers in this Afghan. So I use seed stitch quite a bit. You could also do a moss or a double moss and get a similar effect. And then for crochet, I tend to, when I'm doing crocheted block blankets, Afghans, I guess you'd call them, granny squares, I like to do a border that kind of calls out something that's in the pattern. So for instance, last episode on my scrap GAN, I noticed the medallions that were forming in the four corners. So I did a half shell to kind of mimic half of that medallion. I did this Babette blanket. I got ready to say I did it a few years ago. In reality, this blanket took me 5 years to get completed because I would work on it a little bit and then I'd put it away and then I'd work on it a little bit, and I finally finished it a few years ago. I love it. I never ever use it to cover up with because to me, it's more of an art piece. So I use it as decoration on the ottomans more than anything. And in this one, this type of square really just is a combination of double crochets, US double crochets, and some chains for the corners. So on the border, I just did a bunch of double crochets, a bunch of lines of that, you know, put a bunch, then used like the same way that I'd made corners for the blocks in the body of it on the corner of the Afghan. So you see a little bit more of that one. Just love this blanket, and it's the Babette Afghan. I can't remember exactly which magazine it was out of, so I'll put that along the bottom. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'll look it up and put it along here. This was a club that I joined with Unique Sheep Yarns, and you would get a little kit each month that had enough yarn in it to do 2 blocks, and then it had a little pattern in it. And I'll put the pattern designer's name along here too. I think I remember her first name, but I don't remember her second name, so I'll look that up and put that here too. But for this one, they did not give you a border, and I had a bunch of little leftover bits in different lengths of colors. So for this one, I did a single crochet line around the whole thing. Again, the crochet terms I'm using are US crochet terms. And then I did 2 double crochets and a chain 1, I believe, is what I did on some of the rows. And some of the other rows, I did 1 double crochet and 2 or 3 chains in between. So you can see kind of the difference. And I was trying to mimic a lot of the blocks in here use double crochet, and then this one is where I pulled the other row from, where I skipped. So you can see in the white there, it kind of mimics the yellow of that block. And for this one, I just, however long a piece of leftover yarn got me in this one, I did it, and then I just added on a new color. So for instance, this blue, it only got me to there, so then I just picked up the next color and did it. So I didn't care if I didn't have a color that went all the way around or not. The next question is from Malikhiranger, who is Marlene from Lamont County, Alberta, Canada. What is your favorite way to knit socks? If you are a longtime viewer of the podcast or of my blog, I used to hate making socks. I just didn't get what the appeal was. And I am a fairly fast knitter on regular projects, and then on socks I was just like, oh, I just felt like I would just get into knitting a row and it'd be time to go to the next double point or the next circular if I was doing 2 circulars. And so I just didn't do a lot of sock knitting. And then I thought, I don't know, about a year ago, I'm going to do magic loop and just see if it changes my mind, and it totally did. And I don't know why I didn't do it before. I guess it just wasn't time yet. So by far my favorite way to knit socks is magic loop, and I knit my socks on US size 1s, which is 2.25 millimeter. And Santa brought these needles for me, and they are Knitter's Pride Carbons needles. And I don't know what the length is. Probably, they're kind of long. It's probably 40, it might be 32, but I think it's 40. And that's how I do all my socks. Magic loop on this pair of needles, so I never have more than 1 pair of socks going at a time. And I do 64 stitches. I prefer top down. I don't really like going toe up. And I always have to force myself to do enough rib, so I make myself do 15 rows. And then I do stocking it down. My favorite heel right now is the Fish Lips Kiss heel, so I keep using that over and over again. And then, you know, I do until 2 inches shy, and then I do a toe. And my feet are really small, so it doesn't take me that long to knit socks for myself, which is a good thing, because then I can get that next, you know how it is, like you can justify buying that sock yarn because you only need 1 ball. So you just, then you're like, I want to get to the next one. So, yeah, so there is that question answered. The next question came from Nanmarie, who is Nancy from Largo, Florida. And she asked, have you ever worked on a project you had to take apart and start over many times? And I thought about this one forever because I'm certain, absolutely certain there were. And I just couldn't place like individual projects, and then it came to me. The very first cable project I did, I knitted a cabled sweater for my boy Yorkie, Riley, and that was a real learning experience because not only was it my first cable project, it was my first sweater or fitted garment project. And if you've ever knitted for a small dog, and I knitted it for him because Yorkies are really low to the ground, and he would get snow on his underbelly that would stick, and he just absolutely hated it. And so that way we could put that on and just, you know, take it off of him, or sometimes they get really cold in the winter, and so you just put that on and wrap them in a blanket for a little while. But anyway, if you've ever knitted for a dog, the patterns are great, but not all dogs have the same chest, not just measurement, but shape. Like sometimes it's a little more husky or deeper or broader, and their legs might be closer or further apart. So you have to make adjustments to fit the dog that you're making it for. And then I had to pick up stitches around for his little leg holes. And so it was just a really trying project. And I'll put a picture at the end of this podcast in the closing photos. I'll put a picture of Riley in his sweater. And it was a challenge, but I learned so much on that project. And, you know, he's gone now, but I still have this sweater. And I just, even though it was a challenge, it's probably one of the favorite things that I've made, because I did learn so much and I did challenge myself. So I would say don't be afraid. All right, now, who is our winner? Who gets, let's see what you win. You win a bag from me, and remember, I'm a new sewer, so be kind. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And it has this little navy theme to it, a marina theme to it. So you get the bag, and you get a skein of Madelinetosh Light in the color Volga, and a skein of this cream colored yarns of Richard Javeries. And then you also get a gifted pattern of from A Knitter's Life of her Adrift shawl. Adrift shawlette, I believe is the name of it. So the winner is, and I put the numbers in the random number generator, it's number 32, and that is Regy, who is Regina from Wolfsburg, Germany. So congratulations, Regina. And if you get in contact with me, I will, with your address, I'll get the bag and contents mailed to you, and get the email version of the pattern to you. So I thought I'd go ahead too and answer the question that Regina posted. And she said, "Hi Gina, I was wondering how you store your hand knits, your shawls, scarves, and hats. How do you store wintry knitted items over summer, and how do you store summer items to have them available?" And the short answer is baskets, bins, and ottoman. So I store all of my knitted and crocheted Afghans and blankets are in, I have an ottoman that lifts up and has storage in it, and I keep most of them there that we're using for that season. So right now our lightweight summer Afghans are in there if we want to grab those if the air conditioning is a little chilly downstairs. And then whatever we're not using in the Afghans are in the linen closet. But then for my shawls and hats and scarves in the winter, and then my summer shawls, I have little baskets in my master closet, and I have these little baskets lined up. And then as I showed in the previous episode, I actually twist all of those into a hank and then put them in the basket lined up that way. So that's how I keep my summer items available to me, and then in the winter my hats and scarves and such. And then we live in a fairly small house since it's just the two of us, and so at the top of my craft closet I have huge storage bins that I just put all of my knits in. I'm hoping to this summer go through a cedar chest that I have and clear that out of all the old clothes that, you know, you think, oh, I'll wear that again when I'm, you know, lose this much weight or do this. And I think I just need to come to terms that if I ever do lose that weight, I'm probably not going to wear those clothes again. So I should probably just get rid of those, and then I'm hoping to then seal up my knits and put them in there. So that's on the list of, you know, organizational things to do. Yeah, so that's what I do. So congrats again to Regina. Now for our next giveaway, I have those things here. And our next giveaway will be drawn for in July. So it'll be the second podcast episode in July. And this giveaway has a mystery theme to it. So I am lucky enough, given my background in publishing, to have a lot of friends who are very, very talented writers. And one of them just had a mystery novel come out. And so I went to his book signing and got it signed for you guys. So I got a signed copy. It is Siaso Murder by Larry D. Swayze. And this is a first in a series of mystery novels that he's released. And so Larry has been very successful as a Western writer, and then he has a couple of mysteries out as well. So like I said, this is the first in this new series of mysteries that he has coming out. And you can get this digitally as well if you want to buy a copy for yourself. It's from 7th Street Books, and so you can get it in paperback or digital. And if you win our July podcast giveaway, then you would win a signed copy of the book, and you would win this kind of sort of bloodish red 4 skeins of Happy Feet from Plymouth Yarn. And this is their, and make sure, yes, this is their fingering weight. It's 90% superwash merino wool, 10% nylon, and each skein has 192 yards in it. It is machine washable, and I just thought, that was appropriate, right? Kind of goes together, so you'd have enough to do some socks or a couple pairs of socks, or you could do a shawl. So you could do a couple different things. So this is our giveaway, our next giveaway. To register for this giveaway, I'm going to open a thread on the BrownieKnits Ravelry group, and I'll probably call it like something like mystery giveaway or something. And the question that I thought, I love a good mystery novel, I love a good mystery TV show or movie, and I love a good mystery knit. So I thought we could share with each other what our favorites of those are. You don't have to answer all of them, like if you only have a favorite mystery knit or you only have a favorite mystery book, that's fine. So just go up there and share, and that'll register you for the next giveaway, and you get a chance to get a summer read and a summer knit. So, okay. Oh, I almost forgot to mention that I also am venturing in to sewing some things other than project bags. So I'm going to try to make some simple things like pillowcases, maybe some tea towels for the kitchen, and maybe some pot holders. But my biggest thing that I got most of this fabric for is to make a little rug for in front of the kitchen sink. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Not all of it. Some of it is for project bags. Isn't this cute? I thought this would make a fun winter project bag. So I don't know. There's just a lot of really pretty fabrics out there. Aren't these pretty? I can't get them. This one, I just thought, love this one. And I bought enough of this to get, hopefully, a bag and something for the kitchen out of it. So I have enough here for sewing, probably to keep me busy the rest of the year. So I won't be going back there anytime soon. But that was a really fun. That was also part of my birthday. So, birthday to myself. All right. Well, I think that's everything. I hope that you enjoyed the podcast and that you'll come back and watch us again. And feel free to go into the BrownieKnits Ravelry group and chat along. And, I'd love to hear from everybody. And you guys are who I talk to the most. I'm at home knitting and crocheting, and I don't venture out a huge amount. I'm just keep myself busy. So I love talking to everybody. So, all right. I hope you all are doing incredibly well, and I will see you in a couple weeks. Happy knitting and crocheting.